and I thought I'd just make this video just to basically show you guys everything that I have. So in case anybody asks me in the future, what do you have? Do you have this game? The answer will be answered for you in this video, as you will see everything that I have. So before I do that, I just want you to know, if you want to keep up to date with me, you can go and follow me over on Twitter at general_music_, which is the easiest way to keep up to date with all the latest and greatest things that are going on with me. If you are new here, hello and welcome to another episode of GNG News. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on post notifications if you haven't done already. Leave a like on this video and leave a comment either in the live stream or after this video has gone up, and let me know if there's any games here that you have, because I'd be interested to find out what games everybody has. So starting this off, I did this in A to Z order because, well, I thought, you know what, let's just do this chronologically so that you can see it from A to Z. I could have done it from purchase date, but I decided I don't want to do that. So starting this off, first game is Adventure Capitalist. Then we have AP Reloaded. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about these games as well while I go through them. Adventure Capitalist essentially is a mobile game that they put on the PS4. I downloaded it a while ago just to see what it was, and literally it is a game where you are essentially just controlling businesses, but it's like a click. You know, one of them mobile games where like you do businesses up and all you do is you just like buy the necessary parts, buy the necessary things. It's one of them games where you kind of are just waiting until, you know, time is done, and then you do up your different types of businesses. So it's not exactly an amazing game. APB Reloaded is a first person shooter type game that's free to download. Apex Legends, not as popular as it used to be, but still a massively popular game, is online battle royale type FPS shooter game that a lot of people have played and put a lot of hours into. Apotheon is it's done on, like, I liked this game because of the art style of it. So this game is quite reminiscent of like patterns and designs that you would see on mosaics. It's made by Alien Trap Games. I can't really explain it. It's like a a side-scrolly platform type game. Okay, so Batman the Telltale series. This is obviously a Telltale game, which is a episodic game where you get to make choices, and based off your choices, it changes the outcome of the story. Made by obviously Telltale. Great game, absolutely great game. Put a lot of hours into it. Had a lot of fun playing it. The one next is Batman the Enemy Within, which is another Telltale series game, so I don't really have to explain too much into that. Batman Arkham Knight is an acclaimed superhero game. Tons of bosses, tons of levels. Some people don't like the overkill of the tank in that game. It's a beautiful game to play. I do go back and play that from time to time. I did have to take it off the console because I had to put some new stuff on my PlayStation. Battle Islands is literally that. It's a Battle Island type game where you control like squads of like little marine men. You send them into battle. Battlefield 4. You should know what Battlefield 4 is. It's a first-person shooter. It's a pretty good game. Shout out to James. That was the reason why I downloaded that, was because of him. Battlefield Hardline Beta. This was when the game was obviously new, many, many years ago. It's actually one of the worst Battlefield games to date. Like, people just do not like this game because essentially it was like cops and robbers, and it kind of really took away from the core aspects of Battlefield. It was cool that they broke the mold with this game, but I just don't think it was executed too well. I'd much rather play something like Payday. So BioShock Infinite, the complete collection, which is BioShock Infinite, and that's BioShock 1 and 2, so I've basically got all three of them. They were free. They gave them away. How can I describe them? I never really got into BioShock, to be honest with you. It's just too much like back and forth going in time. Didn't really like the pacing of the story, so I didn't end up playing that one again. A lot of the games I have on here So I have in total 205 games. Games that I've ended up downloading because they've either been free or they were like given away at certain points, either with PlayStation Plus or through the PlayStation Stay at Home event or so on and so forth. So, Blacklight Retribution, that's a FPS shooter, online FPS shooter. Brawlhalla, I literally downloaded that for Authentic Assassin. A shout out to Authentic Assassin. Jelio told me about it a year prior. It's just not a game that I'm into. Burnout Paradise Remastered is a epic game. The original game I played for a long time. It's the last good Burnout game. So Burnout is a game which is a racing game, but it's not like a normal racing game where you are trying to get first place. In this game, majority of the time, you are trying to cause or inflict the most damage as you possibly can on the track and on the cars. It's all about like blowing cars up, creating absolute madnesses of pileups on highways and freeways, going as fast as you possibly can to essentially burn out and explode your car in like the greatest fashion that you possibly can. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, that's the alpha. That was one of the betas that was up online so people could play. Sorry, not the beta, a demo that was up online. The alpha was like the first version of that. I also had the beta as well for Cold War. Call of Duty Black Ops Zombies, that was a game that I used to play a lot. Don't really play it too much nowadays. That was the beta for Call of Duty Black Ops 3. Call of Duty Ghost, as you know, that I have. Modern Warfare 2, another from the series. One of the better campaigns, I would say, out of some of the Call of Duties. Call of Duty World War 2. This is a game I think is slept on. Got a pretty decent campaign. Zombies isn't the best, but if you play it with friends, it's fun. And to be honest, I only really enjoy zombies when I'm playing with friends. Candice Canham Edit, you may have seen me sink a lot of time into that game. I've enjoyed playing that game a lot, as it's a game that I used to play in my childhood. It's made by Rockstar, which make obviously GTA, which they're most famously known for making. They make another load of great games, but Candice Canham Edit is essentially if you put GTA and you were like a kid at school, that is essentially what you get. Also known as Bully. City Skylines was a free game, as it says there, the PlayStation 4 edition. That was available via the PlayStation Plus service, I think a couple of months ago, last year at some point. So I had that for free. How can I describe City Skylines? It's like a building simulation type game where you run a city and essentially you're like trying to build the best city that you possibly can and mold it and shape it into the way that you want it to be. Concrete Genie is a weird game that I downloaded for free, which was, I believe, a PlayStation Plus game, which has a very big emphasis on luminous colors and bright lights and patterns. It seems to be more of a child-friendly sort of game and one that's designed more so for kids. It didn't appeal to me. The art style was cool though to look at, and it was a lot of the touchpad was used and the PlayStation controller. It kind of seemed like one of them games that kind of shows off what the PlayStation can do, which is cool, but it's not essentially a game that I would sink a lot of hours into. I think I played it for an hour or maybe 2 hours in total. Control is a AAA title game. Unfortunately, it was one that didn't captivate me, but it did with Abster TV, so shout out to her. But that game is a mind madness of a story. You've really got to pay attention to the plot to understand it, but hold tight anybody who has completed it, because I know there is a quite great payoff towards the end of the game when you find out what's happened. Counter Spy. Counter Spy is a free game. Well, it was free at the time when I downloaded it. Little spy simulation game where you have different situations and scenarios that you have to platform around to try and get towards the end. Dead or Alive is a fighting game, a 1v1 fighting game. And this is the Core Fighters version, which is essentially the free version or freemium, which lets you get a select amount of players, but then majority of the players are taken out and you have to buy them if you want to buy them via paying for the DLC content. Destiny 2 and Destiny 1. So Destiny and Destiny 2 are like online shooters, but they're raid-based games where you and your fire team of like up to 3 people would go and do a raid, or you can do online against each other, whether you want to do like online matches, team deathmatch, so on and so forth. It's a pretty cool game. It's a looter shooter, is what it's considered to be. Dirt Rally 2.0 is a racing game that I really could not get on with because I am crap when it comes to gears in car games. So that's not something that was really too good for me to play, but it was free on PlayStation Plus, so of course I downloaded it. Shout out to Strapnel. I know he's good at car games. He'd probably be pretty decent at that. Dragon Ball Z Fighters. Dragon Ball Fighters Z is obviously literally what it says on the tin. It's a Dragon Ball Z Fighters game where you play as different Dragon Ball Z characters and you are able to fight against each other to essentially battle to see who can win. Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse 2 Lite is kind of like the Dead or Alive Core Fighters game where it only has a limited and select number of characters, and it's essentially a demo that lets you try the game before you decide if you want to buy the game or not. Drive Club is a failed PlayStation game that they tried to lift off the ground, which was a racing game that just didn't end up being what they said it was going to be. It's a great game if you love car games. Like, I know a lot of car heads enjoy playing Drive, but it's the only people that primarily like the game. The mechanics of the game aren't the greatest, and yeah, it was overhyped a lot. But that was a game that I believe Drive Club is one of the very first games that I had on my PlayStation 4, like my first PlayStation 4, because it was one of the games I think that was listed with my bundle. Erica is a game that I got a platinum trophy in. You guys have probably seen me play that a lot, which is an FMV, which is a full movie video game, which is essentially it's like a Telltale game where you have different story options, and due to what you say and like little ways that you interact by like picking up items and going in different directions, you can change the aspect of the game. The game kind of has the butterfly effect of say you annoy one character later on in the game, you might end up killing that character due to like 1 or 2 encounters of things that you may have said to each other. So yeah, man, it was a bit messed up. Shout out to Ash. Drive Club needs a reboot. Fall Guys. Obviously, everybody's played Fall Guys. It was a game that kind of, for me, I didn't even know it existed on the PC before it actually popped up on PlayStation. I decided to download it for free because it was a free game on PlayStation that they gave away last year. A lot of YouTubers seem to be playing it for some reason around that time. And yeah, I got massively hooked on it for about 3-4 months. I played it quite a lot. Shout out to Jelio and shout out to Naps and shout out to everybody that featured, man like Elizabeth, everyone that featured in all the videos that were playing around that time. It was a good laugh. Fallout Shelter is essentially a mobile game which you could have got, I believe it was around the time of Fallout 4 they developed this game, and you essentially you do what it says on the tin. You're inside a Fallout shelter, but it's micromanagement, so you've got like manage the people that are in there, put them, make sure they do the right sort of jobs, and so on and so forth. Fantasy Striker is basically a rip-off of Street Fighter, but it's terrible. I downloaded it. It's a free-to-play game that you can get on the PlayStation Store at any time, and it's just really not worth your time. I downloaded it just to see what it was, and the controls are very janky. The animations aren't the greatest. Hold tight them for making their game. Obviously, you can tell they're heavily influenced by like other fighting games, but for me personally, that Fantasy Strike is just not a great game, or maybe I'm just not good at controlling it. I don't know. You work it out for yourself. Final Fantasy VII, the remake, which is a JRPG, a cult classic JRPG, obviously in a remake. It's a great game. Go and check it out and play it for yourself. I sunk like 31 hours, I believe, into playing that game before I got to the end. And how it ends, it continues on to like 2 other more versions. So yeah, but anyways, Farming Simulator 19, well, it literally does what it says on the tin. Farming Simulator 19 is literally just me playing a farming simulator game because it was free on the PlayStation Store at one point, and it was the most boring game I have ever played. I got into a field, I tried to harvest a crop, I somehow messed up like the tractor in some sort of way, and yeah, I really couldn't understand it. Did you purchase it or waited for it on PlayStation Plus? What, Final Fantasy? No, I got that for free on PlayStation Plus. I'll be honest with you, I'm not really into Final Fantasy. It's a great game and it's a great franchise, but Final Fantasy is not really something I'm interested into. So when it was free, I downloaded it. I wasn't going to pay £60 to play Final Fantasy, the remake. But I did actually have a lot of fun playing the game. So, fair enough. Uh, Far Cry 4. Far Cry 4 is a great action game, exploration type game, which takes place in Karat. Great game, check it out. Fishing Planet is literally a fishing mini game type game. It's not great. Fortnite is when I had to download that for the members. Um, at Christmas, I had to play that. That game was absolutely awful. Frozen Free Ball, I had to download that for my nephew a couple of years ago. What else we got? Gems of War. Gems of War is a free game. FA3 or FA4? Where? Oh, I've got Far Cry 3 and 4. It's just on here. It's just showing Far Cry 4. But Far Cry 3 is actually on my console right now. What else do we have? Gems of War is like a free sort of game. It's nothing too great. Genshin Impact. I didn't actually put a lot of time into this game. I downloaded it, to be completely honest, because it looks like a Zelda clone, and the only thing I'm missing on the PlayStation, which is the only thing that actually makes me want a Nintendo, is Mario and Zelda. They're the only two things I literally cannot get on, obviously, a PlayStation. But Genshin Impact, I couldn't get on with the controls. The art style, though, is near enough word for word, page for page, look for look clone of Zelda, like how the art style looks at Breath of the Wild. And I had a lot of fun and I put a lot of time and hours into playing that game. God of War, obviously, God of War is very self-explanatory. If you have a PlayStation 4, you're going to know what this is. This is like one of the best games on the PlayStation 4 that you can only exclusively get on the PlayStation 4, and I implore you to go and check it out if you haven't played any of the other God of War games. God of War 3 is one of my favorite, and Ascension, which is a very slept-on PlayStation 3 God of War game, but I had a lot of fun playing it. That's just a digital comic, so that's not actually a game. GTA 5 or Grand Theft Auto 5, very self-explanatory. GTA 5, it's like a simulation type game technically, because you can do so many different things in it, even though it is a first-person shooter and it is a driving game, and it is, you know, a massive online game as well. Greedfall, that was a game that you could have got for free with PlayStation Plus. 1 month, it was one of the games that they gave away for free. I could not get on with it because how that game is set up, even though it's on a PlayStation, it's like playing on a PC with the controls. Very weird, very strange. It's set in like old, I believe it's set in like old England or something with how they talk. Shout out to Jelly. He kept calling me Green Blood, which made me download this game because he's like, oh, they say that in this game. God of War is amazing. Waiting for Ragnarok. Yeah, so am I, man. But unfortunately, I don't have a PlayStation 5, so I won't be playing it. But I will, obviously, when it goes online and someone puts up the story, I'm going to be watching that story. Grow Home is a free game that you can download on the PlayStation Store. I've played it before, and it's a really weird game. You play as a robot. You land on random planets, and you basically have to grow plants and vegetation and like I don't know, essentially like look after the planet. There are little like creatures and stuff that attack you. It was just a random game that I downloaded. Guns Up, I can't really remember playing this game too much, but I do remember downloading it, and I remember I did live in Somerset at the time, and I think I was in Witheliscombe or something, staying with someone, and I took my PlayStation down, and we were just trying to find free games, and we downloaded that. Gwent, so if you've played The Witcher 3, or you've played The Witcher at all, how do you download Days Gone? go onto the PlayStation Store, go to where it says PlayStation Plus, and it should say Days Gone Days Gone, and it should say the Zombie Army 4 game should be listed there for free. I don't know what country you're in the world, but in the UK, it's been available since 3 a.m. this morning. It is now currently 6 p.m. where I am, so the game has been available for me for like 15 hours. That just reminded me as well. I also recently downloaded that Zombie Army game that should actually be ready for me to play at some point. So yeah, Gwent is a card game that it's also coming to PlayStation 4. Has it been confirmed though? Because I ain't seen nothing saying that it's been confirmed that it's coming to PlayStation 4. If it's coming to PlayStation 4, 100% I'll buy it. But I haven't seen anything saying that it's actually confirmed to be on the PlayStation 4. Because if it is, I'll pre-order that. But Gwent is the card game that you can play from The Witcher, and they actually made it into its own standalone game. Headspun is a game that's developed by Wales Interactive. I actually need to go back and finish this game at some point, which is this one's not an FMV. This one is kind of like a 2D animated side scroller game where you're inside someone's mind and you're trying to help them wake up from a coma. It's pretty cool. Hex Card Clash is a card game. Hitman 2, if you ever played Hitman, like 1, 2, or 3, I'm currently playing Hitman 3 at this moment in time, which is the latest Hitman, or some of the older ones like Blood Money and so on and so forth. It's a game where you play as an assassin and you basically assassinate people in so many different ways. It's out for me, but it's not for free. Well, I don't know what to say because everybody else seems to get it for free. Yes, developers confirmed it on tweets, I think. Really? Shout out to Naps. What's good, my guy? Yeah, so anyway, Hollow Knight is a 2D platformer game, a very hard 2D platformer game with a beautiful art style, which I implore you to check out. Trust me, it might look all like fun, but that game gets hard. You really have to pay attention with that. Hyperscape is an FPS. Hustle King is essentially a card game, which you can play online with your friends. Infamous First Light is a follow-on from the Infamous series. So there was Infamous 1, Infamous 2, Infamous Second Son, and Infamous First Light is the second DLC game that has been available for Infamous, because there was Infamous Night of the Blood, I believe, which was for like Infamous 2. And this was the DLC game that they made from Infamous Second Son, which is developed by Sucker Punch, who also make Ghost of Tsushima, if you didn't know. Injustice is a fighting game which can be played online and can also be played offline, where you play as DC characters. There are also some Mortal Kombat characters in there as well. And you are essentially, you can either play the story or you can just, play all the different levels of fighting on it. But essentially what that is a fighting game. What's on the agenda for tonight? I'm going to guess some more Hitman on the go in a bit. Innovators Tournament. Innovators Tournament is a fighting type game. This one's funny. So NatWest actually have their own game, in case you didn't believe it. And I didn't believe it, so I actually downloaded it to check it out. So Instant Saver by NatWest is the NatWest game, which is apparently supposed to help kids save money. But it doesn't help them save money. You just play as like different colorful animals and you just go and collect coins. Days Gone came out at 12 for me. I don't know what to say, mate. Like, you're going to have to contact Sony then. If it's not listed as free for you, you're just going to have to wait. Journey is a game by an indie developer, which is a very beautiful game. It's not very long. You can complete it in like 2 hours. And you essentially just start off at the game and try and finish the game. From one area to another, you're in like a sandy desert type area. It's a puzzle platformer with some beautiful lighting effects and some like really cool art and really nice ambient music as well that kind of relaxes you. So if you ever want to enjoy a game that doesn't take a lot of your brain It doesn't take a lot of mental capacity to do. You can just kind of do it at your own pace and not have to really struggle. Try Journey out. It's a fun game to play. Just Cause 3 is an action fighting game where you can pretty much do anything. You can like jump out of a plane, use a zip line, blow up buildings, take on the government, um, use a massive arsenal of different weapons, use a jet suit, use a wingsuit, repel yourself around the city, and just live completely lawlessly. Just Cause 4 is a follow on from that, but on just an even bigger scale. King's Quest is a game similar to a Telltale series game where you have episodic um, parts of the game. It is, I believe, like 8 or 9 parts to complete that. I didn't have all of it. I think I downloaded like 2 parts of the game. Part 1 was free, and I believe I bought part 2. It's a pretty cool game. You start off as a king you start off as a knight who's trying to become a king, but the guy that you play as literally has no luck, and he's not like talented as a knight or anything. He's not strong, he's just clever in a sense. And he just ends up in all these different predicaments where like you've got to try and find a key, but it'll fall in a river, and then you've got to like go and talk to someone to get him to move out of the way, so then you can borrow like a fishing rod. It's one of them games that like leads on and on and on, if you know what I mean. How's the performance on JC4? JC4 is a lot better, to be completely honest with you. JC3 is good, but JC4 just expands upon it. If you have the DLC for it as well, you can get some really cool mechs, and you can like go around in like an armored tank, and you can have like some really cool mech upgrades. The game is epic, but you've got to have a lot of time to truly explore it and play all of that game. But it's fun to play, so I would implore you to check it out. Now, this game took me by surprise. This is Lara Croft, The Temple of Osiris. Now, I've played a lot of different Lara Croft games, and I've played a lot of different Tomb Raider games. Lara Croft and Tomb Raider come underneath the same banner because they are the same franchise. It's just using a different name. And Lara Croft, The Temple of Osiris, is not like a normal Lara Croft game where you're looking through the eyes of Lara Croft, or it's third person where you're looking over her shoulders. This is a top-down shooter, so you can play this with up to 4 people. I have footage over on my channel. Go and type in Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris, GMG News, and you'll see me playing with like 4 people online, completing the game back in the day, like 4 to 5 years ago now. It is a great, fun game to play with you and a couple of friends. You can play it online. Or you can, just play it by yourself. It's a puzzle solver game, and essentially, as you can see, there's like 4 different characters on there. I can't remember all the names, but one was Osiris, one was Lara Croft. There's 2 other people. One's a pharaoh, and I believe one's a priestess. But they all have different abilities. Obviously, Lara has like her guns, but has like loads of different gun abilities. And you essentially have to use the 4 characters, whether that be you controlling 3 NPCs, which is non-playable characters, or you and like 4 people online, or however many people up until 4, battling through the undead, and you're trying to take on the Egyptian god of the underworld or something. That's a game that I actually wish I still had. So Lego Batman 3 Beyond Gotham. I think I've got it somewhere. It's somewhere in one of my big ass folders. That is a great game. I've played that for many, many, many times. How long have I been collecting games for? Shit. Oh, I gotta try and think. I don't think I was ever avidly collecting games when I was a kid, because I never looked at it like that. It was just like play games, and we kind of just kept hold of stuff. Unless I needed to trade it in. But since I've had a PlayStation account, and because you've been able to buy everything online digitally, and it's been like an unlimited, the way I've seen it is it's like an unlimited library, because I can never fill my PlayStation library because I could just keep buying more stuff. But I've only ever bought stuff when I've needed to buy it, or it's been on offer, or like so on and so forth. You know what I mean? Do you have any collector's editions of games? Not on the PlayStation, because all the ones I have on the PlayStation are just normal bog standard versions, because I don't ever see the point of getting the digital deluxe versions of games, because they're not normally really that much better. It's only physical games. I have the Mafia 3 trilogy, but I've put that away. What other ones do I have? That's the only collector's edition that I've currently got at this moment in time. But yeah, it has a really cool map with it. Days Gone came out at 12 for me. I'm on PlayStation 4. Oh, wow. So you have to contact Sony or something, man. There's nothing I can do. Let It Die is, I think it's a skating game. I can't really remember much of playing this. I remember seeing a video online of like free games and I decided to download this. Life is Strange is a weird game. So Life is Strange 1 and Life is Strange 2 are two weird games. So the first one, I forget the name of the main character. I think it's Maxine. You play as this character who has the ability to rewind time. And by doing that, she can change the scenario of situations and events that happen. There's also the Life is Strange 3 coming out soon, where they have this new character who has, I believe she's an LGBT character, and she has the ability to feel emotions. She can feel people's emotions or something. Looks like a very colourful game, like the art style of it. So, you know, it is what it is. Would you say ZR Gear? You play on PC. Alright, shout out to you. I also play on PC as well, but I'm not really a PC gamer too much. The second game is not a continuation of the first game. It's about two brothers, and what happens? Oh, that's right. The youngest brother ends up having a fight, and then the dad ends up getting killed somehow in the cross wire of it, and then brother has to go on the run, but their younger brother like has this ability, like if he screams, I can't remember what he did, but he could like stop time or something. Um, so yeah, pretty much a crazy little game, but fun to play at the same time. Still fun to play. Limbo is a platforming game which is all done pretty much in the dark with some cool lighting effects. There's some weird spider monster things that are continuously chasing you in this game. You have to use your head, pull rocks, pull down levers, climb up trees, tactically kill enemies, use their bodies to like jump over different paths and objects. It's basically like a 2D platformer adventure type game, which was made by a small indie company, and nobody expected it to blow up, but it did, and it's been achieving really high heights. So shout out to the creators over at Limbo. Little Big Planet 3, well, 1, 2, and 3 are some of my favorite like games in a sense, and the reason why they're some of my favorite games is because they're narrated by none other than Stephen Fry. If you've ever seen QI, Stephen Fry is a very intellectual man. He's very good at talking, and he's just really funny. I find him quite witty. And in these games, you play as the main character, just by there, which is Sackboy. And you can also play as his other counterparts as well. You can play it with, I believe, up to like 4 people if you have 4 controllers. It's just a fun 2D side-scrolling platform game which can be played with all the family. What games you talking about? What game are you talking about now? Little Big Planet I was talking about. I was then just talking about Limbo. Before that I was talking about Life is Strange. So whatever I've got the thing on, that's the one I'm talking about. Right. Next up we have Loadout. Loadout is, from what I can remember, what, Little Big Planet? Is it similar to Ratchet and Clank? No, because there's no guns involved in Little Big Planet. In Little Big Planet, it is all of the world essentially looks like it has been created by people. Like the rips bits of cotton, rips bit of material. The art style is like kind of mismatch in a sense. It's kind of made to stand out. I think it's pretty cool. Loadout is a shooter type game that I really couldn't get on with because the controls were very tricky. Now this game scared the hell out of me right here. Lorem some 27, which turned out to be Knockout City, the beta. But it didn't look like that because it came out looking like this. So when obviously I seen that file name, I had alarm bells ringing in my head thinking to myself, is this actually the file or am I just downloaded some sort of virus thing? So that scared the hell out of me. I deleted that 3 times before actually letting it download. So yeah, you all know what that is right there. Mafia 3. Great game. Obviously, that's weird. Where's Mafia 2? That's strange. So Mafia 3 is Mafia the definitive edition, which is Mafia 1. Mafia 2 is somewhere on there. Oh no, I deleted it off my console. I've got it physically. So I do have Mafia 1, 2, and 3. I have the definitive edition of Mafia 1, 2, and 3, which are remasters of the original games, which are games where you play as Mafia members. The first game with Joe is the best Mafia game. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care about anybody's opinion. The first Mafia game is forever. So what is that weird game about? That weird game is a beta. But out of all the Mafia games, the first Mafia game is the best Mafia game. And then it's the third Mafia game. We don't talk about the second Mafia game because that game was so boring. But the first game, my oh my, that game was epic. That game was episodic. That game was impactful. That game had a great storyline. That game had great storytelling, beautiful visuals, great art style, the music, the ambience, everything of the first Mafia game. Like, I don't even work for Mafia in it. Mafia, you need to hire me. People, go and play Mafia 1 if you have not played Mafia 1. If you want to play a game that's like GTA but in the 50s, then go do that. Okay, Marvel Avengers, the beta is very self-explanatory. You made the second Mafia fun, but the storyline was dead. Yeah, I carried it through. I just had to, bro. To be honest, I got to the point. I got bored with the second one. Yeah, that I just had to carry it. Like I just had to I had to stronghold it. But we got through. Marvel Avengers beta. So Marvel Avengers is essentially like Destiny. It's a looter shooter game, which a lot of people were very ticked off about because it wasn't what it was advertised to be. You get to play as a lot of different characters. I know that a lot of the Xbox players and PC players are annoyed because you can't play as Spider-Man unless you have a PlayStation 4. I was one of the people that was lucky enough to have the beta of that game before it actually came out. Had a lot of fun playing it, but it wasn't worth the money. For some reason, I can't get Days Gone even though I have PlayStation Plus. That's strange because you're not the first person that said that now. That's 2 people that's now said that to me. You need to contact Sony. I'm in the UK. I've had no troubles or no issues getting it, and I can prove that by go and check out my previous video where I was playing Days Gone. Literally downloaded it, started playing it. Spider-Man Miles Morales, one of my favorite PlayStation games that I didn't think was gonna be one of my favorite PlayStation games. The only thing I can say about that game, it was too short. It was a beautiful game to play. I love the fact that we were able to play as a black superhero. Not just because it was a black superhero, but I thought that was a cool rendition to add in. I love the art style of the game. I enjoyed Spider-Man. The first game was absolutely epic and they just improved upon this tenfold, but this game was so short it didn't feel like an actual game. It felt like a DLC that was dolled up into being a game because of how it was overhyped. But an epic game to say less. Could be because of the time zones. Me too. Let's just wait a few more hours. Yeah, just wait. Yeah, man, just wait. Like I said, I don't know what country everybody's in there, so it's probably down to like whatever time it releases in your country. Right, next up we have Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes, which is the prequel or pre-sequel game to Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain, which is the last Metal Gear Solid game before Kojima left the franchise, and now obviously uh, Metal Gear, the company, like, and the state of all of that is just not in a good state because they made that Metal Gear survival game where they kind of just ripped the whole core aspect of Metal Gear out and turned it into like some sort of weird zombie-esque killer game. I live in Canada. I live in New York, so yeah, it's probably when in the UK we normally get games released before you guys. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Uh, Give it like 3 or 4 more hours, and then if it doesn't work, go on to Twitter or go on to Instagram and at Sony and send them your PlayStation username and say what country you're in and say, oh, I can't download this game. Why can't I download this game? And I'm sure if it's not working for everybody in your country and everybody sends enough tweets or makes enough noise about it, they will have to come out and make some sort of statement and let you guys know. But they need to sort that out for you because you know, it's only fair that everybody gets it. Shadow of Mordor. So this is the first game. I also have Shadow of War. These are games where you play in Middle Earth as a character who is essentially trying to, well, first of all, you end up dying and then you come back from death. Your character is called Talion, and you have, what was his name? Like an elf with you who, Celebrimbor is his name, and he's essentially guiding you through Middle Earth, and you're trying to take down the Dark Lord. And in the second game, you just increase upon that. There are loads and loads and loads of enemies you can take down in this game. There's this really cool thing called the assassin engine, I believe, in this game, which essentially, if you don't kill an enemy, they become stronger. When they come back, the ways that you tried to kill them, they're immune from those ways. And you essentially just have to like find a different way to kill them. You're telling me to get a hard drive. I've got 40 games installed on this PlayStation and I already, hold on, let me show you. You're telling me to get a hard drive, yeah? Get a hard drive. There's my hard drive. Hooked up to my PlayStation. Anyways, it's a game where you're in Middle Earth. You play as like an assassin type character who has these godlike powers and abilities blessed to him by Celebrimbor. You are essentially a boss. You take down orcs. Nothing gets in your way, and throughout that game, you just get harder. You just get stronger and stronger and stronger. So you know, it's just one of them things. I will help you get more games. Why would I need your help getting more games, dude? I don't need more games. I got one too, 4 TB. Damn. Yeah, I know how that is. Minefield, I can't even remember playing that game. Mobile Suit Gundam Battle Operation 2, I'll be honest, I can't remember playing that game either. That, I think, was one of the free games I downloaded. Mortal Kombat 11, now I can't remember playing this game. I've played this game for over a year now. This is an absolutely epic fighting game where you essentially are fighting other characters in all different scenarios, all different stages. In the newer ones, you also have like lots of DLC characters that they started added in from Mortal Kombat 9. So as you can see, I've got 10 there. I don't play 10, I play 11. I find 10 fighting style is just not the best. But Mortal Kombat 11, I've got the Ultimate Edition. There's a couple DLC characters that you could get. But I'm not really going to buy them because the ones that are left, I think, is Melina, Rambo, and there's like one other character. But I have like 90% of the characters. Otherwise, Mortal Kombat X is the previous fighting game to that. 2K20 is a game that they gave away for free with PlayStation Plus, which is a basketball game. Obviously licensed by NBA, which is the National Basketball Association. Not a game I'm usually into, but because it was free, I've always downloaded all of the free PlayStation games just to make sure that I've got them there, because you never know, there could be a day that, you know, someone comes to my house or somebody asks me like, oh, why don't you play a sports game, or why don't you play this? And it's always good to have them there. Anyone on the stream who hasn't copped it yet? Copped what? Mortal Kombat 11 is lit. Bro, I don't think, I know Naps ain't got it. There's a few people who've got Mortal Kombat 11, but I'll be honest, I don't really play with anybody with Mortal Kombat 11. I kind of like when I have a couple of the mandem over, we have a little bit of a tournament or something. But no, I haven't played that online in a little while yet. Need for Speed and Need for Speed Payback. I remember I bought these and they were like £3 each. Don't buy these. These aren't good Need for Speed games. That one right there is completely online. So if you're not connected online, you cannot play that one. And Payback literally feels like cops and robbers. I did not enjoy playing that game. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, always be mindful of what games you get. Do you have GT Sport? No, I don't have GT Sport. Neverwinter is like an online game. I believe it's an MMO. A lot of people play that. It's like quite an old school game. Octodad Deadliest Catch is a game where you play as an octopus trying to pretend to be a dad and live in a suburban lifestyle and have a suburban family. It's a pretty funny game. With Octodad, do not take it seriously. It's made by the same people who make Surgeon Simulator, and that game is absolutely hilarious. Odd World New and Tasty is from the Abe's Odyssey series. It's one of the newer ones. There's obviously the new Odd World game coming out soon as well. GT Sport is amazing for racing. Do you have GTA? Yeah, I have GTA. I've already gone through that. Oddworld New and Tasty is a platformer game where you play as an alien that is essentially trying to escape the clutches from this evil organization that is trying to wipe out your race by essentially turning them into food for the rest of the galaxy. Ollie Ollie is a pixelated skateboarding type game that I played beforehand. It's okay. It's like 20-30 minutes of fun, to be completely honest with you, and you'll get pretty bored of it. But if you're ever bored and you've got like 10-20 minutes to kill, it's not bad. It feels more like a mobile game due to how it controls and how it looks. Pac-Man Championship Edition 2, shout out to Adsa TV. We found out how great she is at this game. So this was a free game that was available last year on PlayStation Plus. One of the months it was for free. I downloaded it. I was playing it for a little bit and I wasn't too good at it. And then one day I said to Adsa TV, I was like, why don't you have a go at this? She had a go at it, checked it out, played it for like an hour or so. And she is really, really good at playing Pac-Man. So she's put a lot of time and effort into playing that game. She's got really sharp like intuition at playing that game, really sharp reflexes. Not like me, I'm completely dead at playing that game. I can't download Days Gone. I have PlayStation Plus. You need to speak to Sony then. Either wait a couple of hours or speak to Sony. I heard you're making a comeback to GTA. I heard that I might fly to the moon as well, bro. You know what I mean? Right, Pinball Arcade, very simple explanation. It's pinball in an arcade. It's an arcade pinball game where you get to play different pinball cabinets. You can buy like different themed ones. It's all right. I've played better pinball games, like for example, Pinball FX3 is pretty cool because there's themed pinball tables, but there's better ones like Star Wars. I haven't bought any of the tables. These were both free games to download. I've had these both on my console since like the very first couple of PlayStation 4 games that I had, just to add more games to my console. So I was pretty happy with that. But yeah, if you're ever bored, check these out. PlanetSide is a free FPS shooter game that you can play online. It's a multiplayer game you can play against a lot of people. It's been running for several years, so go and check out PlanetSide 2. That's another free game that you can play. Plants vs. Zombies Ground Warfare 2. If you're wondering why I have this game, I bought a bundle that got, what did it get? I ended up with Unravel, Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare, and one of the Need for Speed games. It was I think it was an EA bundle. No, was it EA bundle? I don't know. It was some like family package bundle that I bought, and it worked out. It was like £8. According to Reddit, people are saying to have patience and wait until tomorrow. No, I don't have Crew 2. Says add to cart and nothing else. Like I said, I don't know. You're gonna have to, as Maps is saying, either wait until tomorrow, and if you don't get it tomorrow, then you're gonna have to contact Sony. But otherwise, there's nothing I can do because I'm in the UK and we already have it. US and Canada will release around the same time. Yeah, I was gonna say because you're time-wise not too different. Players Unknown Battleground is also known as PUBG, which is one of the original battle royale games, which grew to massive fame and hype, such as Fortnite, and so on and so forth. It's not a game that I play too much, but I literally played it to prove a point to see if I could actually play a battle royale game and win, and I did. And I had moderate fun in it. Graphics are pretty terrible. Player base for it, I didn't really know anybody when I was playing it, hence why I didn't continue playing it, but it seemed okay. And that's the beta version of it. Predator Trials Hunting Ground was the latest Predator game that I played when there was a free demo up of it. I'll be honest, I downloaded it just to get a video out so I could show you guys some gameplay of the demo. And it wasn't very good, to be honest with you. I had more fun when I played as a Predator, but when you played as a human, you just felt very weak, very underpowered. I know that's how you're supposed to feel when you're going up against a Predator, but it just felt like you were always going to lose if you played as the human, so that game just never felt balanced. All right, next up we have Racing Bros, which is a free racing game that you can download. Do not download it. I downloaded this just to see what it was, and it is a very cheaply made racing game that does not run properly. Rage 2 is a post-apocalyptic world game that reminds me of Mad Max, and that is the reason why I downloaded it. It is very over the top. You have different like super abilities. You have this mech type SUV that you drive around in this wasteland, and you essentially are just in a lawless state, just doing your own thing and just living your own life. Rayman Legends, if you ever heard of Rayman, which is an amazing 2D and sometimes 3D side-scrolling platformer type game. Rayman Legends is a game that you can play with up to 4 people. It's fun for all the family. And I downloaded this for something for me and Absa TV to do, and we've had a lot of fun playing this in the past. I've also played this on my own. I've played it with friends as well, and I implore you to go and check it out. Very light-hearted art style, can be played with people of all ages, and it is actually really, really fun, and the controls are not hard to do. Rec Room is a game that I downloaded, and I think I played for about 5-10 minutes, and due to the art style, I just could not get on with it. I can't remember what type of game it is, but it just wasn't a good game to visually look at. Remnants from the Ashes was a free PlayStation Plus game that I downloaded, and I still have never played it. So if you do want me to play that at some point, I can do that. What else do we have? So Resident Evil Revelations 2 is a Resident Evil game, which is a horror type game. This one you can play the whole game completely co-op with someone else. So that's a cool aspect of it. I didn't really get into it because I wanted to play it co-op with someone, and the person I wanted to play it co-op with ended up moving to Germany, and then they didn't end up playing the game again. So I didn't end up finishing that game. I think I got to like the second mission, and I kind of just left it there because I was like, oh damn. Rise of the Tomb Raider is a great Tomb Raider game. Have you played Resident Evil 7? Yes, I have. I've played it on a VR headset, and it scared the shit out of me on a VR headset. I played it normally. Normally, I find the game easy, but playing the game on a VR headset, oh no. Right, Rise of Tomb Raider, the 20th year celebration edition, is the Rise of Tomb Raider game, but it's the 20th year celebration version, so it came with exclusive DLC, weapons, and outfits. It's a really cool Tomb Raider game. Shout out to Absa TV. Go and check out her videos of Tomb Raider, and it'll give you more a visual description of what I'm talking about. But it's like Tomb Raider on the next level now. She's not like how she was back in the day. She has more of an attitude. She has like more of a personality. She's way more developed. The art style of it is beautiful, and you really get to see her rise from just being like, a normal person to becoming a Tomb Raider and really embodying that role. So yeah, great game to play. Rocket Arena is a free game that you can play if you have PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. It is also cross-play compatible, where essentially you're in an arena driving cars around. I think you're playing kind of similar to Rocket League, but you can also jump out of your car and shoot people and like headshot people. Downloaded it just to check it out. It was okay, but it just wasn't for me, to be honest with you. It was a bit too hectic of a game to play. The art style is more so based towards kids, very colorful, very bright, but not what I was really looking for. Rogue Legacy is a great game, and it is a game that I've had a lot of fun playing. Rogue Legacy is a game where you play as a knight who's trying to take on a castle. Every time you die, though, when you come back, it's not you that comes back, it's one of your descendants. So the game is pretty cool. So if you don't finish the game, when you die, your descendant comes back to take your place. And then if you die, then it will be your descendant, and then that descendant, and then that descendant. It's a pretty cool game. It's a very hard platformer, side-scrolling platformer game, and go and check it out. So Saints Row 4 and Saints Row Get Out of Hell. So Saints Row Get Out of Hell is DLC for Saints Row 3, and Saints Row 4 is its own game entirely, which is the fourth Saints Row game within the franchise, which is like, think of GTA but wacky as hell. So in this one you have superpowers, there's aliens, literally anything you think that you could do, you can probably do in that game. Saints Row Get Out of Hell is when the main character, Johnny Gat, goes to hell, and he essentially has to save Kinsey, and I think he marries the daughter's devil. It's a very weird storyline, very wacky and over the top, but it's a lot of fun. Shadow of the Colossus is a great game. Beautiful art style and a very vivid story that a lot of people got very invested into. This game was free on PlayStation Plus, and it was available to download some point prior to last year. And it's a game where you essentially play as a guy who is trying to kill all of these guardians because he's told that if he does, he can like save his dead fiance or something. But it turns out that he actually brings about the end of the world, and when he dies, his fiance wakes up. It's a really heartfelt story, to be fair. Go and check it out for yourself. Man, they need to make a SR2 remake. Oh, Saints Row 2. They might do. Shadow of the Tomb Raider is the continuation of Rise of the Tomb Raider, I believe. I can't remember if it's that one or it's that one first. But it's either a continuation or the one before, and another great Tomb Raider game that you can play. Slide and Go is a free game that you can play, where literally you just slide tiles around and create pictures and put them together. I know it sounds really crap, but I sometimes play it just to like put my mind at rest a little bit. Smite is a game which seems more like World of Warcraft with how it looks and how it feels, but it is essentially like you doing raids and taking on different enemies. You have different abilities. You can control like little armies as well. You go to war with your army, take on another army on the battlefield, and just slay hundreds of different enemies. It's pretty cool. It's pretty fun. Um, Let Me Wake Up at 12 p.m. Shadows is the last one. Okay. So yeah, Shadow of the Tomb Raider as well. Sonic Forces is a Sonic game that came out, I believe, a few years ago. It's not too bad. It was another game that was free on PlayStation Plus that I downloaded a while ago. You can actually create your own Sonic like character type avatar and like have different cosmetic items that you have onto it. You can play old school stages and new school stages. You can play with the old school Sonic or the new school Sonic as well, which is pretty cool. So yeah, that's another Sonic game that I would say it's one of the better Sonic games, to be fair, because Sonic games are kind of hit and miss. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. I wouldn't say that they're all good, and I wouldn't say that they're all bad, but I quite like that game. I wish that they make a director's cut of it or something, like Sonic Forces DX. That'd be pretty sick. Spellbreak was a free game. I still have not played it yet. Starlight Adventures was another free game. It was a platformer game. I have still not got around to playing that game yet. Stealth Inc. 2, a game of clones, is pretty cool. So this is a game I downloaded when I first had my PlayStation 4. This game you play as a clone and you're trying to break out of a facility. Now, essentially, I think they've kind of taken a bit of inspiration from Abe's Odyssey, because in this game, you have a very heavy influence on breaking out of where you are and saving all the clones that are also with you, so you can get them to follow you, you can get them to do cool little actions, and you'll be able to essentially make your way out of the vicinity with as many clones as you can. It's a cool little like platformer stealth game. Check it out for yourselves. Stern Pinball Arcade is a arcade cabinet game. From what I remember, it wasn't too great because it's like a 2.5D art style, so it does look a bit janky at points. Street Fighter 5 was the Champions Edition, was a free PlayStation Plus game. Obviously, if you play Street Fighter, then you know exactly what that's about. It's a well, yeah, well, no, it's not a 2.5D. It's a 2D uh, fighting game. So go and check that out with some great characters like Ryu, Chun Li, Akuma, and so on and so forth. Terra is an MMO type game that I really couldn't get on with. Not for me, but it does have a massive player base, hence the reason why I did look into playing it. But how it controls, it seems to be more like a PC game, and I don't think that it is designed properly for the PS4. Super Time Force Ultra is a really mad little platformer game. From what I remember, it's just like really fast paced shooting, and I just didn't get on with it too well. But it was a free game, so I did download that for free. Tesla Grad is another game that was free at one moment in time. I believe that was a PlayStation Plus game that they gave away about 2 or maybe 3 years ago now. Tesla Grad was a free game that was available. I downloaded it. It's a little platformer. It's pretty fun. It's like a little puzzle solving platformer game. Go and check it out for yourself. I believe it's based in like Russia or Poland. Some pretty cool music to that as well. The Complex is a game that's designed by Wells Interactive. The Complex is a game where you make different story-based decisions in order to change the outcome of your situation. It's pretty cool. There's several different endings to it, and I would say it's one which is worth checking out. The Council is a similar game like that, where you make different story choices which change the outcome of your situation. There are also little puzzles as well involved in this game, which will serve as little ways to find out more about the lore. The Infectious Mind of Dr. Decker is a game that's also developed by none other than Wells Interactive. They make it's a really cool game where you play as a psychiatrist and you're essentially just asking questions to several different patients trying to work out who did this murder. You got Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. Yeah, I have, but I've got the Core Fighter version. Um, yeah, you basically try and work out what has happened in this situation, and it's one that I would implore you all to check out. Yes, Dr. Decker. Yeah, it's a sick game, man. I'm glad I downloaded it. Shout out to Wells Interactive with their crazy games. The Last of Us Remastered was one of the very first games that ever entered my PlayStation 4. So when I bought the PlayStation 4, this was actually part of the bundle of the games that came with it, and it is a very good game. And I never actually was into The Last of Us, and I only played it because it was one of the games that came with my PlayStation 4, and I'm glad that I did because I got very invested in that game, even though I'm not really normally into games that have zombies because I normally find them to be a pretty useless enemy type. But I did enjoy it. My wife is in there. Who's your wife? The Sims 4. Shout out to Absa TV. It's a game that I am not good at, but Absa TV is epic at that game. So big shout out to Absa TV. Within the Dr. Decker game. Oh, what's her name? Ah, I know you're on about. I know you're talking about. Oh, what's the name of the red hair? What's her name? Oh, that's gonna annoy me, bro. That's gonna annoy me. I know what you're talking about, though. I know what you're talking about. Yo, if you're enjoying the video, guys, leave a like on the video. The Swapper is a platforming type game that is based. A lot of it is based off light, but yeah, that's a weird game to play. Right, The Walking Dead. These three Walking Dead games here are all Telltale series games, which basically tell different stories from the Walking Dead comics. This one is from The Walking Dead season 2. This one's from the final season, and this one is from the Walking Dead Michonne game, which you essentially have all different questions that you have to answer, and like little different actions that you have to do in order to get through the story and progress and to find out the outcome of the story due to the questions that you have answered. The Warriors is an epic game that I completed with James. I completed with Al. Hang tight them two. It's a movie game. It's literally based off the movie. You are playing the movie as a game. Yeah, man, it's a great game. It's a great game. But the Warriors is a great game. The Wolf Among Us, which is a Telltale series game, same as The Walking Dead. that is one of the best Telltale games I have played to date. Best story, most impactful, great art style, brilliant music, good pacing, and just an all-round fun game to play. I had a lot of fun playing The Wolf Among Us. Thief. Thief is a game where you literally play as a thief. I bought this game for £1.19, so you could literally say it was a steal. Um, it just it fell a bit flat. The game is very dark, and I don't mean dark as in like, oh, this is dark and brooding. No, I mean dark as in like literally I couldn't see what was going on, sort of dark. Um, one of the very early, one of the very early, what they called, what they called, one of the very early PlayStation games. Not a good one. So dusty, bro. Room looks like 2012. Okay, worm boy. Tiny Troopers Joint Ops. Tiny Troopers Joint Ops is a game where you control a platoon of different characters. There's you and like four squad members. I think you can do up to eight. There was a zombie version of this game as well, where essentially all you do is you like go around with all the different characters that you have, and you just shoot in all different directions. You have to solve puzzles as well. It can get pretty on top as well in the later rounds because it's like round after round spawning of enemies, and it just gets harder and harder. There's different enemy types as well. And you have to essentially unlock different paths and different ways to get like the door and whatever else to open up of wherever you're going. But it's pretty fun. I ain't gonna lie. You have a blast playing that game. Surprisingly, you wouldn't think it was worth the time, but honestly, when you do play that game, you will realize like you have put a lot of time and effort into playing it. I sunk a lot of hours into playing Tiny Troopers. So yeah, hang tight, the creators of Tiny Troopers. Tom Clancy Rainbow Six Siege. It doesn't actually say it, but that is actually a demo. This game they put up for free. They put it up for free for one weekend about 3 or 4 months ago. I decided to download it to play it for a day. It doesn't actually say it's a demo, but it is a demo. So if I download it, it will literally just let me play one level and it won't let me progress any further than that. It's pretty fun, but it's not how I remember Tom Clancy to be. Um, the guns just didn't feel as impactful as they used to be back in the day. Maybe I remember Tom Clancy differently, because I always remember Tom Clancy was more of a realistic type spy game, whereas this doesn't really feel like that personally for me. So I don't know. I couldn't really get into it, but as I said, I only played it for one day, so I can't really make much of a assessment of the game because I played it for one day. But from what I played, it didn't really seem too fun. Tower of Guns is pretty cool. Now, Tower of Guns, I think that Borderlands has taken a lot of inspiration from Tower of Guns because Tower of Guns has a very similar art style. You play with a lot of different guns. There are a lot of different crazy levels that you go through in this game, just trying to make your way through the vicinity. I only played it for about a total of like an hour or so. It was a free game that they gave away many years ago on the PlayStation. So the good thing is if you download a game, even if you delete it off your console, it will always be there. So what I normally do, if I find a game that I think is cool or fun or different or interesting, I will download it and just keep it on one of my hard drives just so that if I ever need it and I ever want it, it's there for me and I can get it at any moment in time. Transitor is a game that I haven't actually played through yet. That is one of the games I actually downloaded about a year ago just because it was available. It looks pretty cool. I have been told, shout out to Sam, I have been told that the art style of it is pretty fun, so that's something I will check out. Trials Fusion is a good game to play. Now, the reason why I say this is a good game to play because it's not your normal like motorbike game. You look from a side-on view, and you're essentially trying to control, you're stopping, your brakes constantly. It's sad that they didn't continue Fight Night on the PS4. I know, man. That was a good game. Let's Get Ready to Rumble as well. That was another good game, but they didn't continue that either. Oh, could you imagine if they did Let's Get Ready to Rumble 4 or something, or remastered it and bring it back on the PlayStation 4? That would be mad. That used to be a sick game. Trials Fusion, anyway, is basically a motorbike game where you play with a side-on view. You do like all different puzzles, so you have to control your brakes, control your acceleration. Um, it's pretty fun. I'm not gonna lie. They made a lot of different games off Trials Fusions. Um, so yeah, check it out if you want to play a puzzle-solving motorbike game. Uncharted 4, what can I say? Uncharted 4 is a brilliant game. I actually have it twice. I have the reason why I have it twice is they gave it away on PlayStation Plus, and then a month later they gave it away for the PlayStation Home. The very first time they did PlayStation Home, they gave it away. So I ended up with it twice. So I got it once completely for free because of PlayStation Plus, and then I got it because of PlayStation Home the first time that they did the event. So yeah, it's so goated, man got it twice, you know. Unravel is a very cool game where you play as a ball of yarn that essentially uses its yarn to essentially unravel its way through levels and unravel its way through the mystery of the story that it's playing. It's a platformer game with a very light-hearted art style. Um, it's very refreshing, has some really cool music, and it's something that will captivate you if you like uh, cool platformers. Valiant Heart is a game where you are playing through, I believe, World War I or World War II. It's a 2D side scroller. Art style is quite dark, and I don't mean dark as in light and day dark. I mean the actual art style is pretty dark, as in most of the characters are like a grey sort of darkish sort of color. It was just a cool free little game to download at the time when it was available. So what we got? You got Little Nightmares 2? No, unfortunately, I don't have Little Nightmares 2. Vampire is a game that a lot of people seem to hold in very high regard, but when I played it, I really couldn't get on with it. It was another game that was free with PlayStation Plus, and I really couldn't get on with that game due to the fact that it played more as a PC game for me than it actually played as a console. I don't feel like the controls are actually, um, what's the word? I don't feel like the controls were calibrated for a PlayStation 4 controller. There were too many options for like talking via your controller when you get into a conversation with someone. Um, I didn't really know what to do with it. Like there was cool little abilities. I remember one of the abilities I had where like I drained someone's blood or something, like literally physically pulled the blood out of them. But I couldn't personally get into it. A lot of people liked it. I just personally couldn't get into it. War Thunder is still a game I have yet to play. Warframe is a game I played prior, which is an online fighting game. It's been running for many, many years. You can go and check it out. There's some really cool alien art styles to it. This game I thought was hilarious just due to the name of it, and I checked it out just to see what it is, and it's called White Boys with Attitude: The Pursuit of Money. And it's literally a music video that somebody has made into a game. I'm not joking. It's the weirdest thing I've ever played. Um, when did I check this out? Like 4 or maybe 5 years ago was the last time I played this game. Uh, Type it in and go and check it out for yourself on the store. It's just a laugh. They even say throughout of it like it's a parody, but yeah, it's just hilarious. When I bought Wipeout the Omega Collection, it came with a digital art book of Wipeout as well, which I just keep there. I look at every now and again. Zen Pinball. Zen Pinball is one of the better pinball games that is out and is available for you to go and download. It is free. It's a freemium game, so you can get Zen Pinball for free. But then if you want to get certain arcade cabinets, you can get that as well. Days Gone, the money got crossed out. Days Gone, the money got crossed out. Yeah, so maybe you'll be able to buy it, and maybe you'll be able to download it for free now. Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist. If you've ever seen Yu-Gi-Oh, then you'll know what this is about. This is a game which is about Yu-Gi-Oh, which is a card game, not similar to Pokemon, but is another trading card game that you can play. And this is essentially you playing it as someone playing it on a console instead. So I would only recommend you to play this game if you understand or have played Yu-Gi-Oh before, because it's going to be pretty hard for you to pick up and understand and play if you have no interest in Yu-Gi-Oh, the cards, the art, or the game itself. Exodrifter is a weird little pixelated platformer game that I've had a lot of fun playing in the past. And now I'm going to show you what is actually installed on my console. So we have a Knight's Tale Final Fantasy XV. That is actually a free Final Fantasy game that you can download right now. There's another Final Fantasy game that you can download as well, which is Final Fantasy Descender, which is on the PlayStation Store. But that one is the one that I'm talking about up in the top left hand corner is actually a game similar to Streets of Rage, and that's the reason why I downloaded it. So might have some gameplay of that in the future. Abusa is one of the free games that you can download with the PlayStation Play at Home event. It's a weird game where you play as a guy who's swimming in an ocean, which seems like it's endless, and you have to solve little puzzles. Pretty cool, light-hearted art style. I like the music to it. Assassin's Creed Freedom Cry is an Assassin's Creed game where you play as a African American man who is freeing slaves in the Caribbean, um, which I think is pretty cool. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War is self-explanatory. It's the latest Call of Duty game, which is available for you to play right now and purchase. It's currently on. They've got a couple of DLCs that have gone into that game so far. Call of Duty Modern Warfare Warzone, which everybody obviously plays. Well, I won't say everybody plays, but majority of most people play. Which is another Call of Duty game that you can all play and download completely for free. Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled is a racing game. It is it's a spin on an old classic essentially, because there used to be Crash Team Racing and there was another Crash racing game as well. And they decided to take all of them tracks, put them together, put some new tracks, new characters, new karts, and make this really fun racing game that I've had lots and lots of fun playing. Destroy All Humans is a game made by THQ Nordic, who make some of the old WWE games, I believe. Shout out to Nats for letting me know that. Um, it's just a really cool game where you basically play as an alien trying to destroy all humans who lands on Earth and wants to take over planet Earth by destroying their brains and blowing up planets and buildings and so on and so forth. Days Gone, the game that everybody seems to be telling me is not available, right there. So I've played this now for maybe an hour and 20 minutes in total. It's pretty cool. It's pretty fun. You play in a post-apocalyptic world that is surrounded by zombies. At the start of the game, you find out that your partner, I believe, is like been injured and she has to be evacuated out of the area. And so far, from what I've played of it, the crafting mechanic of it is a bit shifty. I'm gonna have to get to learn that. But the actual cutscenes of the game, I will agree with you, Naps. It is pretty amazing. To be fair, I have enjoyed the cutscenes of that game so far, and yeah, the the zombies kick ass. Don't think they're like ones that they just see you in the distance and they'll just they're not gonna come and attack you. These zombies are on you, and if you don't pay attention, they're gonna rip your face off. Enter the Gungeon is another free game that you can get right now completely for free if you have a PlayStation 4 or a PlayStation 5, because with the Play at Home event, they have 9 free games that are available. Enter the Gungeon is a game where you play essentially in a dungeon and you are fighting just endless amounts of enemies. It's a pretty cool game. I haven't checked it out or played it yet, but I will do at some point in the future. What does OOF mean? Far Cry 3, the Classic Edition, one of my favorite games that I have put hours and hours and hours in. I had this on the PlayStation 3, I've had this on several different PlayStation 4s, and I absolutely love this game. This game is one of my favorite settings for Far Cry 3 due to where it's set. I think it's like the Indonesian Oceans it's set in. Really beautiful landscape. You know, you battle tigers, you battle bears, you take down like an illegal cartel. It's a really cool and fun game to play, so go and check it out for yourselves. Final Fantasy XV Episode Duske is another Final Fantasy game that's actually free to download. I don't know if it's still free to download now. I downloaded that like 2-3 years ago. I still haven't got around to playing it yet. Ghost of Tsushima, one of my favorite games. Look. I was just about to say, look, we got the goated games. We got the goat right in the middle. So yeah, of course, we got the goated games right now. Ghost of Tsushima, one of the best games ever developed by Sucker Punch Studios. Big shout out to Sucker Punch Studios. I played that game a lot. I haven't played it recently, but I'll tell you now, I've put at least 90 hours into that game. In the story, in the online, in the New Game Plus. I love that game. That is one of the best games I've played on the PlayStation. Great art style. Such a beautiful game as well.
great immersive story, great visual effects, brilliant music, great fighting style. Combat is epic. So many different weapons, so impactful. And oh, I just, yeah, you went ham with it, bro. Don't even get me started, man, because if someone gives me an excuse to joke on Ghost, I ain't playing nothing for a long time if I do. uh, Goat Simulator. What can I say about Goat Simulator? Goat Simulator is a game that is made is it's just don't take Goat Simulator seriously. It's just a game that you just mess about in. You want to have some light-hearted fun. I hate The Last of Us. Cool. Um, if you want to have some fun in Goat Simulator, honestly, download it. I don't know if it's still free. It was free at one point on the PlayStation Store, and that's when I downloaded it. But you simulator and play it for yourself and let me know what you think of it, because honestly you can just have some fun in that. If you want to see a goat on a skateboard jumping on top of a trampoline flying over a bridge, you can do that. If you like think it sounds really stupid, but there is something really fun about Goat Simulator. You can literally sink a good couple of hours into that game. It's complete, random madness, but it's pretty fun. Hitman 3. Now, what can I say about this game? This game is an epic game. There is 2 points, though, about this game that I am starting to get a bit annoyed with. Number one, the AI is a bit lazy. And number two, sometimes AI is a bit unresponsive. Ghost of Tsushima got robbed. What are you on about? It got robbed. How can a game get robbed? I don't see how a game can get robbed. So you just made two statements. You said you hate The Last of Us and you haven't explained why you hate it. And then you said Ghost of Tsushima got robbed and you haven't explained why it got robbed. So there's Dak and Jack's the 1, 2, and 3, and Dak and Jack's the 4. And the only other games that we have the new Zombie Army 4, Uncharted, the Nathan Drake Collection. We have Worms Rumble, which is a new Worms online game where it's weird now because it's actually like they've changed it so the controls are more like a fighting game. Tekken 7 is pretty self-explanatory. Tekken 7 is obviously a online game that you can play against each other or offline, which is a fighting game with so many new characters that they've added into it. They also added into the really cool ultimate bowl mode where you can do bowling in it. They stole the game of the year. They stole the game. Okay. Right. Brilliant. Subnautica is a game that I've not really been able to get on with, to be honest with you. Shout out to Lando. He says it's pretty cool because he was trying to explain it to me, but I really couldn't get into that game. Streets of Rage 4 is a game from back in the day that they used to make on the Sega. They used to make Streets of Rage 1, 2, and I believe 3 came out on the Sega Saturn and the Sega Genesis and the Sega Mega Drive. And years and years and years later, they decided to make a new game, which is Streets of Rage 4. Had a lot of fun playing that. It's like two aspects of the old school art style incorporated with like the new school engine of how it runs. And it's pretty fun. Star Wars Racers Revenge and Star Wars Racers, that's the first and the second one. They are two Star Wars games from back in the day. Star Wars Racers Episode 1 is based on Episode 1 from 1999 and 2000s. And Racers Revenge is based around the time of Attack of the Clones, which I believe is like 2004. Star Wars Jedi Starfighters is another Star Wars type game that I've played several times beforehand, where you have ships, you pilot different ships, you basically can play through the story of it. I believe you can also play two-player in that game as well. You can also play co-op of the whole game. So that's pretty fun. Star Wars Battlefront Online 2, probably one of the better Star Wars games to date. Still has a lot of problems online. Obviously, had a big, massive problems with EA when they first brought it out because of all the microtransactions, but they finally sorted it out. So it is a pretty decent game. Unfortunately, it's never going to receive an update, but for as long as it does exist, I will continue to play that game. Star Wars Bounty Hunter is a game that I played all the way back in the day on the PlayStation 2, where you play as Jango Fett going around essentially, uh, well, serving bounties, killing people, and just being a menace to the galaxy. Sleeping Dogs, the definitive edition, is the remastered version. I have to actually get back to playing this game at some point because I had a lot of fun playing that game. It's like playing GTA just in like Chinatown essentially. Rocket League is a free-to-play game which is now available on pretty much every single device now. They are making a mobile version of Rocket League as well that people can play. So I will be potentially doing a review on that when that is available. Ratchet and Clank is a free-to-play game. I don't think you can get it anymore, but it was a free-to-play game with the play-at-home event. One of my favorite platforming games to play. Monopoly is pretty self-explanatory. It's Monopoly as a board game, but as an electronic game. What else have we got? Kung Fury Streets Rage is essentially a game that only has two buttons, which is left or right, and you just essentially just pull off as many combos as you can. The Late Shift is another game made by Worlds Interactive, which I had a lot of fun playing, which is an FMV game. We've got two Lego games as well, which is Lego Worlds and Lego Force Awakens. One is Lego Worlds Jurassic World, which is based off all of the Jurassic World games, and the other is based off the Force Awakens, which is one of the worst sort of Lego games to date. And last but not least, we have Metal Gear Solid, the fifth game, which is Metal Gear Solid 5. The Last of Us took it, but Ghost of Tsushima is the game of the year worthy. Yeah. So yeah, they're all my games. Oh, and not forgetting Zombie Army Dead War 4, which I can't explain because I haven't played yet. So yeah, they are all the games that I have. So no misconceptions now of what games I have and what games I don't have. So in total, as you can see there, 205 games. It's sad it didn't win. Yeah, it's true. 205 games in total. I have 51 games which are from PlayStation Plus. But yes, 205 games in total. So if anybody asks in future, that is how many games I have. Where's Fortnite? It's there. Yeah, there. It's there. But still, thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in a bit. What's the time? It's now 7. I'll be back at 8. Keep on smiling, guys. My legs are dead.